So what I did was a lot of cold calls back then.
Cold calls.
A lot of cold calls.
How did that work out?
That worked out actually. That's the best learning experience that I got from calling. It was hard to do first, but within I started carrying almost 15 listings a month. So
15 a month? Wow. So
we did tremendous business that month.
What kind of experiences did you learn from the cold calls?
First of all, I think the cold call was getting the listings. You know, we found out that there are only few people who were doing it. Maybe 5 or 6 at that time. And we knew everybody's name. You know, there was a couple of guys from Century 21. There was one guy from Molly Foster. I think it was a lot of practice, which made it better. You know, makes you better.
Mm-hmm.
By several listing presentations, we're doing a lot of them. It's just practice, I think.
Yeah. Good. So the cold calling worked for you. What else worked for you early on?
Basically, cold calling was that's all we did. what we used to do it after 6 o'clock, we would go out and pull out all the expireds from previous day and start calling them. So majority of it was cold calling.
Good. How about you, Tom?
I had a little bit of a unique thing, not too unique, but I mean, because I had 8 years of new home sales and I had sold communities all over Northern Virginia, I had built-in clientele and farms, as we call them. And that was very beneficial because I started marketing to all the communities I had already sold, because guess what? I knew everything about them already, and I knew half the people that lived in them. One of the other things that I did, and again, this is a little more unique than what probably most people do, but when I switched over to the side of the business, I had a opportunity where a builder that had always wanted me to work for him, and I said no because he was just too small. His hostess in the model home got attacked and tied up, and she wouldn't come back to work. And so he had 6 houses under construction. He said, could you sell these 6 houses for me? I know you're a real estate agent now, but would you sit in the model home on weekends? You can do whatever you want with your other business and everything. I'm going, wow, that's cake. 6 houses that'll be done within the next 5 months. Money. And what ended up happening is everybody that came in that didn't have an agent, guess who sold their houses? So it actually got me going very quickly in the business from that point of view. But the other thing, I mean, the interesting thing in this business, especially when you start trying to figure out what you want to do, because what works for me may not work for you or anybody else, and vice versa. I can't cold call, for example. That's not my forte. But I am a huge direct mailer and marketing person. And you will be told by so many people in this business that what you want to do won't work. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if everyone else is successful. Somebody's going to tell you, don't do it. It won't work. It's hogwash. Figure out what works for you and do it. I had a direct mail campaign. When I moved back here from Minnesota, I was like dead broke. I was maxed out on credit cards. I had no income, which was another reason why I took those 6 houses. And every little penny that I got, I put into marketing and to get things going. And I started a direct mail campaign, and I came up with an idea about sending out a letter to my farm, giving them information about their market values and everything, telling them why they should call me if they want to sell their house, etc. I sat down, I showed my broker. What she told me was, that's not going to work. Everyone else said, no, that won't work. Nobody will open those letters. I sent them out, I got business. And I kept getting business. And I don't do that letter as much as I should, shame on me. But that's effective. If you send out something that differentiates yourself.
How much money do you spend on direct mail?
Oh, God. 3,000 a month, probably.
And how many deals?
I send out 5,000. I send out a newspaper every month right now to 5,000 to analyze that a little bit better because I just started it again last year. It was phenomenal the first time I did it. This year, I have not quite been doing it a year. I mean, I have probably had 100,000 at least, I would say, off it one way or other as far as gross commissions. I mean, people, you know, people read it. It's astounding. If you send things that people want, I've gone out on listing presentations and they open their drawer and they've had everything I've ever sent them in it. I'm like, dude, are you stalking me? Are you psycho? I mean, seriously, they save it if it's worth their time to save. So, and what I've always found is when I do go on the listing presentations, it's almost a given that I'm going to get it. And so you walk in, I do my presentation, and okay, where do we sign? Well, we want you. We know you know the neighborhood, or we know you know this, or we see what you do. We want you to do it. I don't have a lot of the grief that a lot of other people have. I actually would rather, in many cases, go into one of my farms where people have seen my business for over and over and over all the years. I'd rather go in and get one of those listings half the time than be referred from another client. Because even though referrals are great, and I'm not knocking them whatsoever, you need them, the referral doesn't know me other than what the person said good about me. The other people have seen me over and over and over and say, I want him, without a doubt.
So ideally, you're branded.
Exactly.
Branded. What % of your business is buyers versus sellers?
I'm a listing agent. I have buyer agents that do the buyers for me in general. So, I mean, I only handle very few buyers. I only handle buyers if I personally know them or if they fall literally right in my lap.
How many listings do you carry a month?
Right now, I'm probably running around 5 or so. But it varies. It's up and down. I do a ton of rentals as well. Tons and tons and tons of rentals. So, but to answer that question, I'm probably 70%, 75% at least listings. I don't work buyers. You gotta find, in this business, number one, if you want a life and you wanna make a bunch of money, you need to be a listing agent. But number two, and more importantly, you gotta find what you enjoy. And I'm not saying I don't enjoy working with buyers, I just don't enjoy what working with buyers does to your life. But some people love working with buyers, and that's the niche, and that's where you gotta enjoy what you do in this business. Find what you enjoy and figure out how to make that your niche, so to speak.
So what are the reasons why you don't like working with buyers?
Time.
How many buyers can you work with at one time? And every buyer, as soon as a house comes on the market, especially when the market is hot, wants you, and you have to, or you will not get them a house, you've got to run out and show them a house. So if you have plans Friday night and that house came on Friday afternoon, and it's a hot market, guess where you're going to be Friday night? You know, you can only work so many buyers and work them well at a time. A listing, I sit in my office all day and do my marketing and do whatever I need to do, and I mean, you can carry 5, 10, 20,
15.
whatever.
I'm sorry?
15.
15, yes.
I mean, it's a different life, and when I can sell a house, if I'm a listing agent, I can sell a house on vacant. I don't have to be in Virginia to sell a house. If I'm a buyer, you have to be here. You cannot, you've got to be able to, or have a way to show the house.
There are ways.
You can't do it. It's very difficult.
So Susie, how about you? Early on in your career.
You know, I have turned into a listing agent, but I was a buyer's agent for many years just because I was afraid of listings. I started off pretty young, so it was hard to be across from somebody who was the age of my parents saying, hey, I'm going to sell your biggest asset, because they looked at me as if I was their kid. And it still happens in some cases in some communities. So I started off with, in Whitegert, they had a bin that was the trash bin, and it was all the rentals. That year I made like $45,000 just in rental trash. The next year I sold probably 5 or 6 houses to the rentals. The year after that I converted probably 10 of them into sales. And, you know, that's something that's really big. Like, when you say you still do rentals, I have never stopped doing rentals. Most agents are like, oh, I don't do rentals anymore, you know, I don't have time. Quick, easy, fast money. They appreciate you so much because you took the time to deal with them and to work with them. And everybody around them appreciates you too, because you weren't just, you know, somebody that they called and they just never heard back from. Because I stay in contact sometimes more with my rental clients than my other clients. And my reasoning behind it sometimes is I know they need to still buy. And the other ones I'm like, oh, I already sold them a house. So I am trying to get better on follow-up. But my rental clients, I'm actually, when I put them in a rental, I put them in my calendar for 6 to 7 months later to contact them to see if they want to purchase the house, or what are they doing, or what are their plans, have they had any life changes. And I also send a card to their landlord saying, hey, your rental's about to come up. If you need, you know, help renting it, let me know. I already have somebody that will probably want to be renting it. I work with so many military clients that 9 times out of 10 I have somebody else that will do the rental. I do rental open houses, as some of us know. When I have a property that's in a hot area, I am not going to do, like you said, 20 times go show that same property. I will schedule an open house, and I will schedule at times that are convenient for me, because rental clients know that it's so hard to go see a house. They will take that lunch hour off, and they will take their time. I still love working with buyers, but I am very mean about my time. I have 5 kids, and I want to spend time with them, so I will let them know these are the times I'm available. We got to work the schedule and make it work with them. In some cases, you do have crazy hot markets where you have to go show that one property, but you know, I have no problem calling a newer agent and saying, hey, I'll give you $100 if you can go show the property, and if you write a contract, we'll do some sort of commission split on it. I usually write the contract, but if the client decides to write the contract, we'll do a commission split. The other thing is electronics now. You guys are so lucky if you're just starting, because even when I first started, everything was handwritten, everything was faxed, you know, I can be in a driveway, have a contract written and over to a listing agent within 17 minutes. I've timed myself. When I meet with a client, I know I'm a nerd. When I meet with a client, I already have their pre-information in zip forms right away. So that way, if they do like that property, 2 seconds, I can get it uploaded into my zip forms, just a few little touches here and there, and we're already writing a contract and sending it to their smartphones via DocuSign. And if they can't do it, I have a big giant phone where I make them sign right on my phone. So that's something that electronics and technology really are good, but don't let that be everything. One of the biggest complaints I see from people coming in from other agents is that they were so about technology they never touched the client. I don't mean physically touching the client, but you still need to be there, and you still need to kind of do that hand holding, and you still need to give them that human, because right now, especially, and you're pretty young, you guys are pretty young, our age range, nobody talks to us. Everybody is technology or text messages or Facebook or this or that. All they want is that human, and you really need to be that human for them. And you know, that's my fear was listings for a very long time, until, you know, one day I just said, you know what, let me try this, let me try it my way. I was not big about, oh, well, this is what I do, and this is how I sell it, and this is where I was not big about that, because in my eyes, as a seller, if I was selling my own home, all I want to know is show me the money. Let me know how much I'm going to make, how quickly I'm going to make it. So when I walk in to a listing appointment, I basically tell them I'm going to sell your house in the fastest time possible, with the least amount of headaches, and with the least amount of stress that we can deal with in your file. And I come in with a net sheet. I don't come in with all this advertisement stuff. If I'm in their living room, it's because they've seen me somewhere, because I'm almost all referrals. I don't do direct mail marketing or anything like that, so almost everything I do is through referral only. But I come in basically with a very pretty, colorful net sheet, showing 5 different ranges of where their house can be at. I keep backup net sheets just in case the house is really bad or just in case the house is fantastic and I'm off on my numbers, because sometimes you can be completely off on your numbers. Because I have that already pre-done and in paper so they could see it and feel it, my partner will be talking to a client about, how beautiful the house is, and I will never leave that table because whoever's the financial person is usually making the decision. So I will sit in front of that person, whether, it's one spouse or the other or just, whoever, and we talk the figures and numbers, and I never have to reduce commissions based on that. Whereas before I was always like trying to, be the cheapest agent and put the most amount of work and this and that, and realize no, we want to get full commissions, we want to get them every single time, we want to be worth it. I don't do my own photography because I really suck at it. With 5 kids, you would think I would know how to take a picture. I can't. So we hire a professional to do it because I know I'm not good at that, and they're paying thousands of dollars, and it costs you less than $500. Spend the money, get professional photos, and that helps me in that business because most of my clients are military. It takes 2 clicks to get the link for all the pictures with the floor plan out to wherever I need it to go. So bringing in technology and bringing in personal touch has really been very good for my business.
Rajiv, how long did it take you to get up and running in the business? And what would you recommend to this group to short circuit that today?
I think the main thing is to build on your database and hit your database every month at least, a couple of times a month if possible. That's the least expensive way to get in front of people. And my business is pretty much 100% referral. I can do 40 transactions a year just by that, not spending a lot of money. And it's all referral. And it all comes, I've noticed that I have an e-newsletter that goes out every month. Right after that, 3 to 4 days, I start getting calls that so-and-so referred me, so-and-so referred me. I think that's just being in front, somebody in the office talking to their, that person, and you say, this is my agent, you may want to call me. I think that's the main thing. I started off as a listing agent, and like Tom said, you get more time when you do listing, and you last longer in the business. Listing. I started off listing, and then my 90% of the business now is buyers. It just happened that way because I'm not marketing for it. I don't have geographic farms. So most of my business comes from previous clients who were going to list with me, majority of the time. But 90% of it is from the buyers, and that's mainly just referral based. I don't mind doing any rentals, sales, or listings, whatever comes. I always tell people, and the rentals are great. I mean, if you can find anybody, and I know I have a lot of rentals, and Scott passes out leads from the rentals, and rentals get a lot of leads. I would do a lot of rentals in the beginning years when you start. That's the best way to get yourself a database, because these people will buy sometimes next year or year after.
Plus, you learn how to talk to clients.
Plus, you learn how to
You learn how to open up lock boxes.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the biggest things, I think, as new agents is we've all tried different things. We've all tried different programs. We've tried different styles of selling. We've tried different things. I think the biggest thing you need to learn how to do is twist your failures into success. This may not work, but if you twist it just a little bit, all of a sudden your business expands. So a lot of it has to do with just learning from what didn't work, and getting over the thousands of dollars you may have spent trying to make that work, and twisting it into something that does work. Because something you normally wouldn't think would be a great thing, like right now, I am going through all of the class reunions, all of that stuff for my age range, because that is one of the biggest buying sectors right now. And you know what? I'm being friends with them on Facebook. I'm doing this, I'm doing that to get my name out there so that I don't necessarily have to talk to them all the time, but they'll see my just sold pictures and they're, oh my gosh, they went to my high school. She's being used as a realtor and this and that. Just yesterday I had somebody in my car that she was like, you sell everybody a house that I know. And that's the biggest compliment, because I didn't even know she knew half the people I knew. And it's because of, you pick your little markets, and that's what's great, especially with a lot of the young people, because that's you're getting a lot of those people buying houses. My partner, she does the SRES, so we do a lot of stuff. We have a lot of stuff coming up in the retirement communities, and it's just picking markets that work well for you. And it's funny because she'll get into the retirement communities, but for some reason they think I'm adorable. So it works for our business because we're so different. It works for our business, expanding it. I'll help a client here, but then get 2 or 3 other clients there. And that's, I think, like you said, with the referrals, you start off as a listing agent and turn into a buyer's agent. It depends on what year. Like, there's some years I do almost only listings, that's it. And then the next year, all I'm working with is buyers. And you have to learn to work with it and not just say, oh, I'm just a listing agent, or I'm just a buyer's agent, or I'm just a rental agent. If you want to succeed, you need to work with the market. At least I think so.
How about you, Tom? How quickly did it take you to ramp up?
I got going pretty quickly when I switched to this side of the business, primarily because, like I said, I had the 6 inventory homes from the builder, and my first sale, oddly enough, I moved back to the area, and a friend set me up with somebody, and I got my license. She bought a home 3 weeks later. I mean, how much better can that be? But if I were starting, I would make sure that you talk to every single person you personally know to see if they have any needs that you can help them with. That's crucial. I think, like everyone's saying, the rentals, there is any good agent who has spent the first year of their business doing rentals has had multiple sales the following year. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but it's money in your pocket at least.
Cheap
If you do it
advertising
right,
is what I
it's
call
cheap
it.
advertising. You've got some pocket money to help you get going. And more importantly, it's building your sphere of influence and your database. Because this business, it's never easy, but it gets easier the longer you're in it. Because guess what? If you've been successful, you've got all those past clients that if you're staying in touch with them, it's building business coming back and back. So it's getting in front of as many people as you can, and it is also realizing that you need to learn how to generate leads. However that may be, there's tons and tons of real good real estate agents out there that don't succeed because they can't figure out how to generate business. They might know every single thing from a transaction, from, okay, this is what you need to do. They may represent their clients perfectly, but if you can't get the business,
You want to do it once or twice?
it's not going to happen very long. So it's lead generation. You can screw up an awful lot if you have lots of leads coming in, because you're going to get through it. If you don't have a lot of leads, you have no margin of error. You have to really be able to convert what you were getting. So,
What would you stay away from?
what would I stay away from? As far as in what regards, anything?
Yeah,
I mean,
just anything, like what did you try that didn't work?
well, the biggest thing you need to realize is there are whole industries that prey off of real estate agents and sell you thousands of dollars worth of stuff that doesn't work, or just costs you money, or stuff that's really not relevant.
Like
And
what?
God knows I've spent tons of these lead generating services are one. You will do much better if you figure out how to generate your own leads versus leads from somebody else. I mean, is there one called Reply Real Estate or whatever, and they sit there and they guarantee that you will get so many leads a month. Yeah, you get them and nothing happens with them. And some people do, again, I say this, some people might do better than others, but you can spend an awful lot of money for little or no return from all these services that do things for you, whether it's generate leads, whether it's the latest innovation in your marketing. Oh, you must do this to succeed. You got to be real careful with that. worth spending. Bearing in mind, like I just said earlier, everyone's gonna tell you, oh, that won't work. But, that's a serious issue in our business, I think.
Yeah, how about you, Susie?
Well, like you were saying with the internet leads, it just depends. There's agents in our office, that's all they do, and they make a heck of a lot of money, and I wish I knew how to convert some of those internet leads. It just, you know, I was one of those silly agents that spent money back in the day on that little radio contraption that went outside the house.
Talking house?
Yeah,
I
talking
sold
house.
houses off that. Oh, it was great.
I
I
have
all
one
the
in my
leads introduced
office.
me.
I don't know if you've noticed, Scott, I actually have one in my office, so every day I walk into my office, I look down and look at it, and it clicks my brain into what can I do to make money? And it's kind of my trigger of when I walk in, this is what I'm gonna do to make money. And it drives my partner crazy. She's like, just throw that thing away. But that to me is I wasted money, what can I do to make money?
I think they know what it is. I have 12 of them if somebody wants to buy it.
I have some too.
Brand new in the box.
I gave them to my metal guy. He loved it. He was like, "Oh,
It's
this
great,
is
actually.
awesome!"
It's great.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, I love it." But
What is he?
my
Talking house.
Oh, no, I know talking houses, but the metal guy?
oh yeah, I have a metal guy, which everybody needs a scrap metal guy. It's basically somebody that goes around and picks up all the scrap metal from people, like old washer machines, dryers, he picks up all kinds of weird stuff for free, which is great. How many times do you have a listing and there's something weird at the house that you're like, get rid of it, and they're like, we don't know where to put it. Fairfax County charges for the dump, you know, this and that. I have a metal guy. I have one in each county where I call them up and say, hey, I'm going to, you know, I have this, can you go pick it up? And what I do is I tell my client to tell their neighbors, especially if they have like a Facebook for the neighborhood or whatever, and I say, hey, the metal guy's going down in your neighborhood. Give me a call, let me know what your address is, and I'll have him take the stuff. Darned if I haven't sold 4 houses because of my metal guy. Because he will call me up and let me know, hey, this person just changed their appliances, or this person did this, or this person is remodeling. They want to sell. I was talking to them. Be friends with your contractors. All realtors are friends with contractors, but really be friends with your contractors. Make sure that you do refer them out, because the realtors that refer the contractors out get the best prices. They get the best services. I had a pipe explode yesterday at 9 o'clock. Sent a text message to my contractor, and he was out there with no problem. Charged my client $70. You'll never get that anywhere. But he was like, oh, Susie texted me. Let me go take care of it. He sent me a message at like 11 o'clock at night, say, hey, I'm all done. I'll see you on the job tomorrow. It's something that you want to make sure you have good people that you're working with, but make sure you do refer them, because they do appreciate that business, but they make you so much more money. I'm always looking for free advertisement. To me, that's perfect free advertisement, is building that, your name out there. Another thing I do is, I'm a big time blocker. I know you know this. I print out my calendar for the year. I put in all the big special events, then I go monthly, then go weekly, then I go daily. One of the biggest things with realtors is the time. There's so much that comes up all of a sudden that you have to take care of right away, but at the same time you need to have a life. I mean, I don't know, some people really love real estate. I'm not a big fan of it. I like it because I make a lot of money and I can support my family and I can make my own schedule. You know, some of these realtors are like, woohoo, I love this, I love houses, I'm so over houses, it's all, you know. It's very rare for me to get a second look and really like a house, but you know what? I'm good at selling them. And that's what helps for my family. And it helps for my client, because I don't get emotionally attached to them. It's like, you know what? This is what it is. It's a money transaction. Let's go from here to here. My clients all adore me and love me. Some of them who don't like me are my best referral clients. Because you know what? They're like, she's tough. She's super to the point. But you know what? You want her on your side. You don't want her sitting across the table from you on the other side. So.
Rajiv, besides your talking house, what would you recommend people stay away from doing?
Negative people.
Yes.
Especially when you go to
squeaky wheel.
classes
See,
classes
squeaky
like
wheel.
these. There are people always talking about, you know, it's not working for me, or it's not, you know, I haven't done anything. That I almost left the business because of that. I used to hang out outside, smoke with people, and then they all talk about market is bad and nothing is happening, everybody's starving. And then I saw this top producer who used to sell $1 million welcome RNs. And I think that's one of the things. Of course, what Tom said is people out there, and I've tried everything. I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars in Trillia, Zillow, you name it. I've probably spent money on $600-700 a month on each. None of that works. I mean, it works for some people, but the majority I've seen.
You have to do what works for you.
But also, if you read National Association of Realtors statistics last year, and majority of the people they say come from referrals, 47 to 50% almost. Then some signs and all of that stuff. 11% of the people there that actually translated into sales came from internet leads. So I figured, why run after 11%? That 47%, I should market that and spend money on that instead of going after that 11% that I don't know.
Right, so that's a good point. What do you spend your money on?
What do I spend money on?
Mm-hmm.
I don't spend now. I don't spend that much money on anything pretty much because majority of my marketing is all electronic, newsletters and things like that.
Would you do your picnic?
I do my picnic, yes, once a year, and that also probably 60 to 70 people I had no idea in my house or in the backyard. Majority of them are people who have referred me, several people, and I have people who have referred me 15, 20 in 1 or 2 years. That's a lot of money, a lot of sales.
So you do the picnic, and do you do any other client events?
No, that's it.
Is that-
That's it. But I do keep in touch with people. All my referrals are people that have referred me, and my database. I call at least 4 or 5 every week, just to say hello, hi, and how's.
And how
And
many
I
people
ask
are in
for
your
referrals.
database?
I'm sorry.
How many people are in your database?
I have about 1,100 people.
1,100.
Yeah, 500 to 600 are my clients, past clients. 600 of them probably.
What database do you use?
I have something called Wobre, but majority of it is on my contact manager, just Gmail.
Tom and Susie, what database do you guys use?
I use Wise Agent. I'm getting more into it because there's a lot of features that I haven't been using. I was literally just using it as a contact management. But Wise Agent works for me. It's kind of like the little mini top producer.
I use a system called Real Pro because I have a team. So number one, it integrates my website. Everything from my website goes through the database. It has automatic drip campaigns, and it has tasks and assignments. So I can sit there, and when we have a sale, we can implement a task or a plan, I should say, and then everybody on the team knows exactly what they're supposed to do when by looking at their calendar. So it's a fully integrated system.
How much does that cost?
$3.99 a month with the website and everything. I believe it is.
I also use. I'm sorry. I also use iHouse. It's a lead website that has drip marketing system. It's about $99 a month. That's
I'm cheap. I just use Wise Agent. It's like $100 a year. It works for me.
Good. So, what do you guys find that's working in today's market? What's getting you the best results?
For me, it's the My Town Heroes program that we're doing, where we donate to a local school or charity. It's getting our names out there, places we never knew, we can get out to.
How's that program work?
What we do is every time we sell a house, we donate $500 of our commission to a local school or charity. We let our client pick where they would like it to go. If they don't really have, if they're like, oh, whatever, I don't know, you pick. I'm very strategic about it. Depending on what's going on in the areas, there was a big election going on in Dumfries. So I decided to pick Dumfries Elementary School because I knew the mayor would present my check, which was really awesome. So I was on the front page of their, it's a little, Dumfries, I don't know if anybody knows where it is, but it's a little teeny town. But me and the mayor and the school principal were on the front page of their website for several months, which was awesome. I picked different events that are coming up, like the Wounded Warriors. When they were at an event, I made sure to present the check during that event because it was a feel-good thing. They, they were able to get this nice $500 check, but at the same time, it got my name out there. I had a sweet family that was going through a very bad divorce, and one spouse was not paying for the kids' tuition, and we decided to do our first scholarship, and we did not $500, we actually did a $1,000 scholarship that kept the kids in there for the last month of school, because they were not going to be able to finish, which I thought was evil of the school, especially because it was a religious school, but they were not going to let these kids finish out their year, and I went in and, you know, we saved the day, because we're like, we're paying for it and actually pay for the enrollment for next year. So, but doing that not only helped me feel good, helped the client feel good, got our names out there, but other agents are also doing it. And somebody actually recently came up to me and they were like, aren't you so upset people are stealing your idea? My very first thing was like, no, we want our names out there. We want people to start thinking realtors are good people again and not just money grubbers. You know, we want people to go out there and do that. It's, you know, I don't care if one agent does it or 20 agents does it. I know that I feel good when I do it and my clients will remember me, but it's awesome to know that we inspire other agents to do the same thing, or other companies. I know several companies have gone into local schools that I've been into and come in behind me and go and give, you know, $1,000, $1,500. And it's great walking into the school and seeing our big checks on their wall, because we actually have a big check that we present them. And they save things like that, which is really awesome. My office, you walk in there and we have a huge banner where the whole school wrote, thank you, you know, Miss Beth and Miss Susie. That's advertisement through the schools, that's advertisement everywhere. But it's also doing good for the client and doing good for your community, which the community is a big thing. If you are a pillar of your community, you don't have to do all this crazy advertising. You don't have to spend this money. You don't have to beg for business. It really does come back to you. It may not come back to you right away, but it will eventually be there, and they stay with you and they work with you because they know you have a good heart.
How about you, Tom?
It's always going to boil down, no matter what, to the people you know and your sphere and your past clients. And I mean, you can market all you want, and it's a great way to add people to it. But the bottom line is, it's going to be the people that you know. I'm a firefighter, for example, and a pretty fair portion of my business just comes from people in the fire department. I mean, it's people you know. There's one other real estate agent in my fire department. I'm the one that's deemed to be the one that knows the most and the most ethical of the two of us. So I get people refer me from the fire department, and the people in the fire department use me. So for me, you know, whatever it is, you need to make sure you get out there and get involved in things and know people and make sure they know that you're a real estate agent.
I think that's actually really important that you said that. Agents get so busy going from one transaction to the next and doing this and working here that they forget about life. I make more money going into the Walmart to go pick up something than some people do sitting in their office all day trying to do cold calling or this or that. I make money because I wear my badge and people know I'm a realtor and I'm out in the community with them. You know, I don't know if you guys are like part of groups or anything. You know, I'm part of the school groups, I'm part of shooting groups, I have a lot of firefighters that I shoot with. It's different things that you become a part of, that once you're part of that group, you're their realtor. Like your firehouse, you're the realtor for your firehouse. You're the realtor for your PTA. You're the realtor for your girls' hangout. You know, whatever the groups are, you need to be out there in life. If you're just sitting in your office all day, or if you're just always working, you're going to work yourself to death, not have a life, and have no real follow-up business. If you become the realtor for all your friends, that business is there, and you can still have a life. And I guess because I have so many children, I want to maintain my life and maintain being out there, because this business will run you to the ground. Absolutely will run you to the ground if you're not careful. And I am way too young to be run to the ground.
How about you, Rajiv?
Well, it's getting in touch with people, and I've always been sending the emails and newsletters and things like that. But this year I started calling, and but they're being hit by somebody in their market every month with postcards or whatever, so whoever.
Like Tom Connor.
I'm sorry,
Tom Connor's mailing to.
so I have lost,
It works for you though.
yeah, it does. I've lost some business to Ron Rush, like in South Riding, so, I think calling and being in front and still talking to people as much as you can, being in front.
Do you guys have any questions of our top producers?
One other thing is
Oh.
business planning.
Yes.
You want to plan your business, you want to have goals, you want to know where you are all the time in business. And I'm sorry if I'm
No, no,
interrupting,
no.
but I literally keep this raggedy thing with me in my purse. I buy a purse big enough just so it fits in there, just so that no matter what, I have a business plan. If I have a client that calls and is thinking about maybe possibly selling, their tax record is in here. So that way if I meet somebody else that is possibly wanting to buy in that general area, I already know, oh, I have this property that may be coming up. I'm a big tracker. I track where I get money, who's getting what, who's selling what, who's doing, whose lease is coming up, who's getting a divorce. All those things you want to keep track of, and it's super easy nowadays. I mean, just pop it into Excel or whatever fancy programs you have, and I'm old-fashioned, I still use Excel, but having a business plan is really important. I'll look at my plan and realize that I'm 10% or 15% under where I want to be, and it's amazing because I know that, in May, I know to beef up my business and not to get like, oh, I have plenty of stuff coming in. I know each month that I need to have this many more leads because I can convert them into this. Knowing where you are in business is very important so that you don't spend so much money on marketing and then all of a sudden at the end of the year realize you spent more on marketing than actual business coming in. Because realtors can be busy all day. They can be busy all day, and they can be working 24/7 and at the end of the year not make any money. So that's something that I learned the hard way of. I was just running myself ragged and doing this, doing that, spending money on here, spending money here. It looked like a lot of transactions were coming in, but at the end of the day, not making the money that I thought I should have had. So tracking is very important so that you can have that balance financially, because you can go broke very easily if you're not careful.
You need to ask yourself on every single thing you do in this business, and it's not necessarily that you're spending money, but you need to look at whatever it is you're doing, whatever your task is, and ask yourself, is this creating business for me? Is this creating money for me? Or is this costing me money? And what I mean by that, if I have the opportunity to call somebody and get a listing, that's my job. That is creating revenue. Processing a file, for example, that's, to me, at the very bottom of my pile. I could care less about processing a file. It's not giving me any money. It's just taking time out of the day that I can spend creating revenue. Now, I have an assistant, so I don't have to worry about processing files. But, that's the thing. I pawn off almost everything I do on her, because guess what? It doesn't enhance my life, and it doesn't enhance my revenue. If it enhances my revenue, I'm doing it. If it doesn't, I give it to her, in most cases. So, and I just have a very humorous story, because we keep talking about talking houses. But, it's one of those things, you need some sort of
We all did it.
niche or something, or you need to make sure you're all over the place and you're doing things that create interest. This is a hysterical story. I remember I did them on all my listings back in the day, and I got a phone call once from a guy. He's like, yes, I'm sitting here in front of your house listening to you talk about it. And I'm like, okay. He's like, when can I see it? So all right. So I went over, I showed it to him. He loved it. I double-sided the transaction. So that was a $430,000 house, so $860,000. He had a house to sell, about $350,000, so I did a $350,000 sale off him. And today he's the Undersecretary of Defense. So you just never know what you do and where it comes back. And actually, from that point of view, you don't know. You also need to realize that what you do today in this business may not give you a paycheck tomorrow, but it can give you a paycheck 2 years down the road. might have just cost yourself something in the future. Most of what we do is not going to pay off immediately. It's a long-term commitment. You know, oh, I don't get any business off an open house, blah, 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 whatever the excuse is. And guess what? I've had people that met me at open houses 2 years later called me, hey, I came in your open house, I was impressed, we need to sell our house now. So you're setting yourself up for the future, not tomorrow necessarily, you're setting yourself up for the longer term success by realizing what you do. And again, making sure you're all over the place. My second highest sale at the time, may have been my highest sale, came from being on Facebook and the president of my fraternity, who I hadn't seen since the 80s. Hey, you're a realtor, do you work in McLean? Yeah. I hadn't seen him in 20-some years. Went out and sold him an $830,000 house. I mean, so you got to be all around, making sure you're always communicating, and making sure everybody knows you're a realtor.
Don't be all realtor when you're on Facebook. That's the other thing that is the biggest complaint is when the realtors are so like, oh, I'm a realtor, look what I got. You have to still, you know, put pictures of your family. I try to have a good blend of, you know, this is my life and who I am, but this is also what I do. And you want to have a good blend of that. And also go through your Facebook and make sure you don't have too crazy of stuff or have it protected, because the other thing is people do research you. I research, when I have a tenant going in, I research a tenant to see if on their Facebook they're smoking pot, because you know what? I really don't want, you know, that to be occurring, especially if it's out there publicly where the realtor can find it. I don't want my landlords to be like, what the heck, you know, this is what's going on. You know, you have to remember that you're out in the public. The public will find whatever they need to find about you. You want to make sure that you protect yourself, put out an image of, you know, obviously of who you are, but have it to where people know you're not just a realtor. Because if they think you're just a realtor, a lot of them will just think you're boring and not hire you anyway. You want to be a good overall circle person and just, you know, be a blend with everybody.
Unfortunately, good or bad, on my Facebook page, I mean, I don't, on my personal page, and I have almost a couple thousand friends on there, it doesn't, most of my real estate stuff gets posted on there, but I try to also, I mean, I don't allow a lot of polarizing things or anything on my own page, but like what I'm known for, my little gimmick, everyone knows me for bad jokes. It's unbelievable how many places I go, oh, I love all those jokes you post. I mean, any group I go to. Come on now. They make everyone chuckle because they're so bad.
Well, you know, and it's also politically correctness. I do stuff that's not politically correct to some people. I shoot, it's something I do. Some people absolutely are very against that, and you have to know that if you portray that, some people might not hire you because of that. You
now,
know,
the flip side to that, the big flip side to that is, see, I'm very much, I shoot as well, and I don't promote any of that stuff that could be polarizing, but the flip side to that is, if you can appeal to 5% of the population, or appeal to a certain segment of the population, who cares if the rest of the people aren't using you?
And that's what
if you appeal to shooters, and all the people that are into guns use you, you will be highly successful. You don't have to be all things to everybody.
You don't have to be everybody's best friend, because it was a very personal thing. Not a lot of people knew about it, but then when I did put it out there, exactly like you said, I have this whole following because I'm a female shooter, that I have a whole following that I never thought I would have, and they buy some big houses, which is great. So, you know, it's something that you want to be different, you want to stand out, but you do have to know that there can be some backlash to it. And I've had it before where, you know, somebody tried to backlash a little bit, then saw reasoning behind it, and was like, okay, wait a minute. And actually I was able to turn somebody's perspective of, you know, what I believe in and what they originally believed in. So you just have to know that not everybody's going to like you, and that's okay, and they still may hire you. Whether they like you or not, they still may hire you because you're the one for the job. And you know what? Some of my best referrals are from a gentleman that I could not stand him. He just we just did not get along, and I get more referrals from him every year because he said I was the only female who never backed down to him and who threw him as much attitude as he threw me, and it worked. And he respected me and knew that no matter what, that I would negotiate the best for him because I wouldn't let somebody smother me down, which was, you know, you just don't know. The person you think is the biggest jerk may work out perfect, and the person who you think will refer you to everybody will never refer you. It's just the way the world works.
You talked about Facebook. What about other social media sites? LinkedIn, YouTube. How heavily do you guys market to those sites?
Majority of my leads came from LinkedIn, not Facebook. Facebook solely by clients, previous clients and all those people. But LinkedIn is where I have almost 1,300, 1,400 people. And that's where the people I don't know. And that's where they come from. LinkedIn is a great place.
The
YouTube.
consumer is researching you, so you need to make sure you're able to be found and have those
Google
sites
yourself.
maintained. It's amazing if you look at people on LinkedIn how old a lot of the information is. And so, it is important because people will do, and like you said, Google.
Yeah, I Google myself once a month, just to see what comes out. I have a couple things on Facebook, or on YouTube, not really a lot. Originally, I used LinkedIn a lot, which I got away from, but I am gonna start going back to because I did make a lot of money just getting my name out there on LinkedIn.